You stare out the car window. The world slides by. Beside the road, an invisible figure starts running. They jump fences. They balance on guardrails. They clear every obstacle without missing a step. It feels like a silly game. You think you invented it, but the truth is far stranger. This runner is not a daydream. It is an ancient survival glitch. Your ancestors spent 2 million years scanning the horizon. They tracked prey. They plotted paths to safety. Today, you are safely strapped into a metal box. But your brain hates sitting still. Millions of people see this exact same phantom. And the strangest part? You never decided to imagine them. They just appeared. So where did they come from? Your brain spends almost every second making predictions. It isn't waiting for the world to happen. It is constantly guessing what will happen next, comparing those guesses with reality and updating them every moment. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing, which simply means your brain is always trying to stay one step ahead instead of reacting too late. Imagine trying to catch a ball. If your brain waited until the ball reached your hand, you would miss every time. Instead, it predicts where the ball will be before it gets there. Could that same prediction system be doing something much stranger during a boring car ride? Think about what your eyes actually see. Trees, road signs, telephone poles, bridges. Your brain doesn't like disconnected objects. It loves continuous stories. So instead of seeing random obstacles flashing past, it quietly invents a moving character that connects them into one smooth sequence. Suddenly, every fence becomes something to vault. Every ditch becomes something to leap over. Every wall becomes another challenge. Without realizing it, your brain has turned the landscape into a game. This isn't just imagination, it is simulation. A simulation is a mental rehearsal where your brain practices actions without your body actually moving. Athletes do this all the time. Elite skiers imagine every turn before racing. Basketball players mentally rehearse free throws. Even surgeons visualize operations before picking up a scalpel. Why? Because many of the same brain regions become active whether you perform an action or vividly imagine performing it. One of the researchers who helped demonstrate this was neuroscientist Mark Ginerod, whose work showed that imagining movement activates many of the same neural systems as real movement. So when your invisible runner lands perfectly on top of a wall, your brain isn't watching someone else. In a surprising way, it is rehearsing movement itself. But why a person? Why not a rolling ball? Or a flying bird? The answer may lie deep in your evolutionary past. For millions of years, your ancestors survived by watching other humans. Was someone running away? Running toward danger? Climbing a tree? Crossing a river? Every movement carried information. Missing those signals could mean starvation or death. Your brain became extraordinarily good at tracking bodies. Even today, it only takes a few moving dots arranged like shoulders, elbows, knees, and feet for your brain to instantly recognize a walking person. This phenomenon was first demonstrated by psychologist Gunnar Johansson in the 1970s. He attached tiny lights to people's joints and filmed them walking in complete darkness. Viewers saw nothing but floating dots. Yet within seconds, they recognized a human being. Even emotions became visible. How? Because your brain is unbelievably skilled at detecting biological motion, which simply means the unique patterns created when living bodies move. That ability never disappeared. It simply found new places to express itself, including the side of a highway. There's another clue hidden inside your imaginary athlete. Notice how smoothly they move. Perfect timing. Perfect jumps. Perfect landings. Almost no mistakes. Real people don't move like that. Your brain does. Psychologists call this idealized simulation. Instead of replaying messy reality, your mind often creates cleaner, more efficient versions that are easier to understand. Movies do the same thing. So do dreams. Reality becomes simplified. Movement becomes elegant. The impossible starts feeling natural. Have you ever wondered why your invisible runner never gets tired or trips over a rock? Your brain isn't trying to build a realistic person, it is building a useful prediction. And efficiency matters more than realism. This becomes even more fascinating when you consider something called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are brain cells that become active both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else perform that same action. They were first discovered by neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti and his colleagues while studying monkeys. A monkey picked up food. Certain neurons fired. Then the monkey watched someone else pick up food. Some of the very same neurons fired again. Your brain partially experiences actions simply by observing them. Although scientists still debate exactly how mirror neurons influence human behavior, the broader idea remains remarkably important. Watching movement changes your own brain. Even imagined movement can recruit similar systems. Could your parkour runner be quietly activating those networks? No one knows for certain, but the possibility is fascinating. Then there's boredom. Most people think boredom means your brain shuts down. The opposite is often true. When external stimulation decreases, your mind becomes more active internally. Researchers studying something called the default mode network discovered that certain brain regions become especially active when your attention isn't focused on an immediate task. The default mode network is essentially your brain's internal storyteller. It wanders, connects memories, imagines futures, builds fictional scenarios, solves problems in the background. During a long drive, your body stays mostly still. The scenery repeats itself. Conversation fades. Music blends into the background. Your brain suddenly has spare processing power. What does it do? It starts creating. Sometimes it replays old conversations. Sometimes it imagines future ones. And sometimes it invents an athlete sprinting beside your car. But not everyone imagines exactly the same thing. Some people picture skateboarders, some imagine motorcycles, others see giant animals racing across rooftops. Children often imagine superheroes. Adults sometimes imagine parkour experts. Why? Because your brain fills empty space using whatever movements feel most familiar, exciting, or satisfying. The details change. The process stays remarkably similar. This tendency appears throughout your daily life. Clouds become faces. Shadows become people. Random sounds become whispered words. Your brain constantly searches for meaningful patterns. Psychologists call this pattern recognition. Pattern recognition simply means finding order, even when the information is incomplete. Most of the time, that ability is incredibly useful. Occasionally, it creates imaginary athletes. There is another reason your invisible runner feels so satisfying. Your brain loves rhythm. Notice how telephone poles arrive at regular intervals. Fences repeat. Road markings pulse beneath the car. Trees pass in predictable patterns. Your runner naturally synchronizes with those repeating structures. Each jump lands at exactly the right moment. Each obstacle appears just in time. Your brain has transformed random scenery into choreography. Could that be why it feels oddly relaxing? The same prediction systems that once helped your ancestors judge cliffs, rivers, branches, and dangerous terrain now entertain themselves with concrete barriers and highway signs. Nothing about the underlying machinery has really changed. Only the environment has. Thousands of years ago, your ancestors mentally rehearsed climbing rocks, crossing streams, and escaping predators. Today, your brain quietly rehearses clearing guardrails while sitting comfortably in the back seat of a family car. The ancient software keeps running. It simply found modern scenery. That tiny invisible athlete isn't proof that your imagination is random. It is evidence that your brain is astonishingly active, constantly predicting, simulating, organizing, and searching for movement, even when you're doing absolutely nothing. The next time your eyes drift toward the window and that impossible runner effortlessly clears another fence, Remember that you are watching millions of years of evolution expressing itself through one harmless little daydream. Because maybe you were never just staring out the car window.